Hello and welcome to a new pick a card reading. In today's reading, we are getting a general message for you. We are just going to see whatever you need to hear at this time. So we're keeping it simple, we're keeping it open, leaving the door and the table open for Spirit to deliver whatever they find most pressing for you at this time. For that, I have prepared 3 groups with a color card and a crystal. So let's start off. Group number 1. This is your crystal. Let me show you that close up first. And your color is Cinnamon Crunch. These go quite well together, don't they? Cinnamon Crunch. It sounds delicious. That is group number 1. And then group number 2. This is your crystal. This is an Angel Aura Quartz. This is an Angel Aura Rose Quartz. That's what it is. This one is a rhododendrite, something like that. You guys know I'm really bad with names, okay? Babbling Brook. I can't read, I swear. Babbling Brook is your color. It's like a bluish gray. I don't know how it's going to come across on camera, but it is a very muted blue. So that is group number 2. And then group number 3. Oh, wow. Just got a huge ringing, like a shift in my ear. It was ringing before that already, but that was intense. Okay, anyways, group number 3. Interested to see what comes up in your reading. Your color is Blaze. Look, I'm even doing this backwards. This is your crystal, and I don't remember what it is. I do remember that it's really good for dream work, but I don't remember what it's called. All right, group number 3, that is your color card and your crystal. Mysterious crystal here. Let me know if you have any idea. Let me actually show you a real close-up so you can see the detail in that. I know I have it written down somewhere, but if you have any idea what this is, share with the class, please. All right. You may have also paid attention to some of the numbers we got here. There's 1080, 6, 42, 1144, 103, 3, 65, 13, 16, whatever stands out to you. I'm going to give you a moment to either zone in or zone out, whichever you need, to determine which group is calling you the loudest, and then I will meet you at your group. Timestamps are in the description below, and I will see you there. Hi group 1, this is your reading if you chose the Cinnamon Crunch and this beautiful crystal point. We are going to set this right up here so you know you're in the right reading, and then we are going to get right into it. So we're doing a general reading. I don't know what's going to come out, but I am setting the intention to receive whatever it is that you need to hear at this time. We are dealing with some pretty intense, especially today when I'm filming this, November 3rd, we're dealing with some pretty intense astrological energies right now. So I'm sure there will be plenty to talk about. But let's see. Spirit, what does group 1 need to hear at this time? What do we need to talk about? What's going on? We have the Chariot, we have the Ace of Wands. Oh, the Star card almost came out. 4 of Wands, good enough, good enough. And that's why I don't force cards to come out. If they jump out and then back in, if the next card is similar in its essence, then we will get where we need to go in any way. Okay, wow. Wow. The first thing that's coming to mind right now is the fact that I said sounds delicious when I showed you your cinnamon crunch. Cinnamon is an energy of abundance too. I am really digging this. I'm really excited for you. This is really beautiful energy. With the Chariot card, this indicates that you are headed towards a path that will lead you towards towards there's a lot of anticipation here, because it's not, you're not, I don't know that you're quite on the path yet. You're conceptualizing a path. You're kind of like looking towards taking an action that will take you on a path that will lead to something, right? So there is quite a distance ahead of you, but it will be so worth it. Now, the fuel that's going to take you on that journey is going to be desire with this King of Wands, and it is actionable desire, right? This is not just passive energy. But with the Chariot card, you have your eyes set on something and it's getting you really excited. It's getting some juices flowing. Okay, I have to say it. For some of you, this is sensual in nature. Which can, of course, be multiple things. That can have to do with self-expression, that can have to do with experience, right? Experiencing physical pleasure, or experiencing sensuality through self-expression, because those are both at home in the sacral chakra, and I'm getting a lot of sacral chakra energy here. So for some of you, this is you taking action towards establishing a style. You might be finding clothing, you might be finding an expression of self, an art style, you might be finding something that feels very natural to you and feels like, oh, this is who I am, this is what I like. So you may have been sort of between worlds recently with this Chariot card as well. You may have been between like versions of self. You may have still had like a version of yourself in mind as you were embarking on finding a new version of yourself. And I see you taking control, taking the reins, and really establishing something that makes you feel joyous and excited. The Four of Wands, of course, is a card of our joyous foundation, celebrating our foundation, feeling really confident about what we're putting out there. And especially with the Wands, we're talking again about desire. And with the Empress, it is about, you putting yourself out there and that being received very, very well. So let's get some more energies here. Tell me about the Chariot card. I'm getting a lot of luxury from this energy. Luxury, there's a different word that wants to come through. My goodness, I can't get it. There's something else that wants to come through. I keep thinking sensations. Sensations. Luxury, sensations. I don't know, maybe it'll come to me, but there's something else. It's like just beyond the tip of my tongue. And it has to do with like the finer things in life. There's a very elevated energy here. Look at that. We have the Judgment card coming out underneath the Chariot card. We have the Lovers coming out underneath the Ace of Wands. So for some of you with the Lovers card, of course, if we read it as literal as one might, there is definitely some luxury coming in, some princess vibes coming in. I love this with the Empress. Of course, you're the Empress, right? You're above a queen, above a princess, but I'm getting princess treatment here. And it's because of choices that you're making with the Judgment card coming out underneath the Chariot. Because you're stepping away from old patterns, because you're stepping away from things that didn't nourish you, you're choosing a path that is going to be very nourishing and very exciting. And honestly, this energy is really heavy on the sensuality. I can feel it. You're making me blush. All right, tell me, and that's hard to do. I'm a Scorpio, so it's hard to make a Scorpio blush when we're talking about sensuality and passion. Ooh, look at that. We have the Five of Wands coming out underneath the Four of Wands, which is a natural progression. I always love when that happens. And then we have the Two of Wands. You are really making yourself very delicious. Look at the Magician at the bottom of the deck. You're entering a phase of being highly magnetic, highly attractive. Now, you have used some discernment to move away from things that have like sort of dulled your shine, and you are moving towards things that make you really, honestly, you might actually be using some sex magic. Take it if it resonates. You might be doing that naturally. You might not even know that you're doing that. Meaning, you know, you might be engaging in activities while you're thinking of things that you're trying to manifest, right? There's some highly sensual energy here. It's very distracting, to be honest, but let me try and focus. You are deviating from old patterns and choosing new pathways, and those pathways are therefore attracting in things that have a lot of potential. And so that's where the reading kind of leaves it, is at you setting the scene. It's almost like you're putting on, like I was talking about aesthetic earlier, right? And it's almost like you're putting on a real, this is giving like over here makeover scene in like a rom-com, right? The makeover montage, and this is like the reveal. Kind of like in Princess Diaries. It's like you came to me with this, and only I can give you, I'm butchering it, and I give you a princess. Oh, you are definitely doing something that is all about making you feel good in your body, feel good in like, you may be experiencing a Venus return. You may be experiencing some nice aspects between your Venus and some other placements. There's high sex drive, high sensuality, high focus on attracting positive energies. So I love this for you. With the Magician, this is at the bottom of the deck, a reminder of, look at your power, but also with power comes great responsibility, of course. So it's about recognizing the ability that you have to attract things at this time, but to continue being discerning so that you don't get caught up with energies that waste your time. So if we are talking about you, if you've been single, this is you getting your shine back. You're still bejeweled, right? You're still sparkling, you're still shimmering, whatever she says. This is you like getting ready to play the field again, but doing it from a new place of consciousness. Now, if this is about career, this is you having decided that you want to take action towards something, and you are now conceptualizing what it is that you're trying to attract. So again, we're getting to the point of potential. I don't necessarily see what's coming beyond that, because I think what you attract is going to be sort of the test of it all, of like, okay, you're going to non-discriminate. There's no discrimination amongst what you're able to attract, which means that everything that you attract is not going to be for you, is not going to be what it is that you want. And that's where you are going to have to take accountability and responsibility, going back to this Judgment card as well. Can we get some energies on this? We have the second house, absolutely. We have the second house, we have Mercury, and we have Scorpio energy. So the second house is the house of values, and it is the house of money. So I do see you being very attractive and magnetic when it comes to, I'm telling you, princess treatment. Like, you are lucky girl syndrome. Like, you are about to be spoiled a little bit, energetically at least. But there is definitely potential for this to be material as well. But with Mercury and Scorpio here, it's about understanding the power that you have through the way that you communicate, through your voice, through the things that you call in, okay? Because what ends up coming in beyond this point of potential will depend on how empowered you stand in your ability to call in. And I love this because we're looking a lot here at, with this Four of Wands, at you having built your own foundation. You're getting your confidence from yourself and not from external sources. And then everything that you call in is going to add to that. So it's not going to be a dependency because that's what you've moved away from. I want to take a peek. We have the Eight of Cups. Yes, this is you walking away from old satisfactions. Also, I'm telling you, some of you are really moving into a life of luxury, into a life of just having to worry less. Let me see, I'm still too curious. The Emperor. Some of you are calling in a sugar daddy a little bit, okay? Some of you are definitely calling because you're walking away from putting up with less than you deserve, because you're like, no, I'm an empress and I will wait. Yes, I'm calling in a lot of energies. Some of you are definitely calling in someone who is very much going to be able to match your energy, whether that is in a material way or in an emotional way or both, best of both worlds, right? Now, aside from that being a person, though, this is about your own personal power and your ability to create something, to build something. And you walking away from old patterns is what's going to help you manifest this. Okay, let's see. Can we get an energy that you are currently in? What is an energy that this person is currently, that group one is currently embodying most? We have Mouse. And then what is an energy that group one should embody more of? We have Vulture. Ooh, that is an intense. And then we have Moth. So there's a transformation taking place here. This is an intense gap to bridge because Mouse is very hesitant energy and it's very small energy, right? It is small but mighty, but also kind of anxious. Vulture is an energy that's a lot more relaxed. The Vulture knows. Now, what I'm kind of confused by is the fact that Vulture is the kind of animal that feeds on decay. So actually, no, that makes sense with the path that you're leaving behind. So you're feeding on that decay. But a Vulture typically just kind of takes what's left over. Same goes for the Mouse. The Mouse kind of collects like little bits here and there. But I think that's not so much what we're focusing on, but we're focusing on the attitude, because where the Mouse is like, oh, can I get this? Can I get this? Can I get this? The Vulture is like, oh, I'll just wait. And I know I'm going to get something. I know that I'll be fine. And Vultures are also incredibly intimidating, right? So there's a shift in attitude here. And a Vulture knows that they will get theirs. They just have to wait. And that, I think, the Mouse is a little bit more anxious when it comes to that. What is an energy that group one should release, let go of? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Fell to the floor. Okay, let me get the next one and then I'll pick that up. What is an energy for group one to embrace more of? Interesting. So we got the Beggar card coming out, but it did come out in reverse. And then Martyr was underneath that. I'll pay attention to it, but I won't keep it out. The Beggar card came out in reverse. Very significant and very much connecting to that Vulture. Okay. We have Father. Okay, the energy to release, to let go of. So for some of you, this has the shift that I'm seeing is the idea of someone else coming in and assuring you. You are shifting from needing outside assurance to being able to assure yourself, and that is what will bring in outside support in a material or emotional way. I think mainly in a material way, because we're talking a lot about the material here. So with father energy, the idea of you're giving up some responsibility here. So you're not requiring outside sources to reassure you emotionally, but thereby opening yourself up to receiving more, which sounds like a conundrum, but it's not. It makes sense the way that I'm seeing the energy, because I think it's going from, especially because I had said, oh, some of you are getting a sugar daddy, but it's coming from a place of you recognizing I'm my own daddy, right? We're talking about the term loosely, but the idea of like, I'm my own provider, and then going into I'm my own provider, but I deserve to be treated. I deserve luxury. And there's some kind of shift that takes place with your attitude here, and that then allows you to be in a place to actually receive someone who will provide for you, because you're not coming from a place of neediness. You're not coming from a place of lack. There's some kind of energy that will come in to help support, because they're building on something that's already there versus it being a foundation that is just sucking up everything from what they are willing to give. Huge attitude attitude shift in you. Now the energy to embrace more of, we have the beggar card coming out in reverse. And so we're talking about embracing that you do have needs, and that you're not needy because you have desires. You're not needy because you want a certain life for yourself. Okay, because the beggar card it says confronts empowerment at the level of physical survival, awakens the spiritual authority of humility, compassion, and self-esteem. Because the issue with beggar energy is when people are too proud to beg. And this is not saying that you need to beg, but it's because it came out in reverse, it's giving me like the strong feeling of recognizing that it isn't begging, that having standards isn't begging. Having standards isn't begging, because this card talks about like the undeniable needs that we all have, and that there's the social constructs are what creates the judgment around asking for things. Oof, intense. Okay, let's see. Let's get you some more oracle cards. Any blind spots that group 1 needs to be aware of? Any blind spots that group 1 needs to be aware of? We have transitions, yep. You have all of the inner resources you need to cross whatever bridges arise on your path. And then we have lantern, consciousness is light at the bottom of the deck. So the blind spot is just that you are in a period of transition. I think the transition is an attitude transition that will lead to a material transition. And I think the attitude is something that you've already been working on. So the material transition is going to follow. I love this for you. Get some moon cards on this. Give me one. Thank you. Absolutely. Look at that. Nourishment. See, you're going away from the idea of living off of scraps towards like understanding that you are allowed to have needs. You're allowed to want things. You're allowed to also just want things because you want them, not just because they satisfy a basic need. Okay, so there's a lot of really nourishing energy coming towards you like throughout this transition. It's not even after the transition, because you've already begun this transition. So because of that, I'm just here to tell you to keep going, because it's working. It's working. Can we get some significant energies here for group 1? Anyone more? Thank you. We have growth and test. All right, so the growth is what is happening, very much going hand in hand with transition, and then test. We have trigger. Okay, so that's a fair warning because that's connecting to this 5 of Wands here. Again, what I had said is that you will be attracting a lot. So then you have made this decision of like, you know what, I'm going to do things differently. And then once that starts working, you will be tempted to fall back into old patterns. You will be tempted to fall back into choices that you would have made previously when you didn't realize that this new path was going to work. And so that is going to be the test with the 5 of Wands, with the trigger. That is going to be when you truly prove, no, I deserve more. No, I know I deserve more. Okay? All right. Any last considerations or advice for group 1? Don't settle. Don't settle for anything. Keep your options open. Oh my God, there is so much abundance coming your way. Look at that, honey. I'm telling you, look at that. Yep. Yep. And that's the thing. Spirit is, see, don't settle. Don't let in for those doubts. But I'm telling you, there's abundance coming in. There is money coming in. And look at these colors. There is material abundance coming in for sure. And I'm typically very cautious when I say this, but this is undeniable. It's on so many levels here. And Spirit wants you to recognize that even if somebody's coming in to support you, it's still something that you created with the Magician. This is still based on magic and based on a foundation and based on an attitude that you have created, that you have shifted within yourself. So it isn't just somebody handing out, right? That's why you're having issues with this beggar card. I can feel it too. But that's why it came out in reverse, and that's why it came out as an energy to embrace. That it's okay that you're not a beggar just because you have standards. You're not a beggar just because you have needs. You're not a beggar just because you currently don't have certain things, but you want those things, okay? So there's a shift in attitude that is really going to allow you to call in this abundance. And it is with honey, right? Honey doesn't just appear. It is you connecting with things that are already in progress for you. This is already in progress, and it's based on decisions that you have made. The Empress, you are the honeybee queen here. Like this is beautiful. This is incredibly exciting energy, and I need you to stay in that attitude of like, yeah, I deserve. Yeah, I have standards. Yeah, I get to decide what I settle for or what I don't settle for. I get to decide. Yes, no, maybe. Take your time in deciding, right? But you are definitely calling in the ability to pick and choose, to have your pick. And I'm telling you, you are calling in with Rise Up, with all these yellows. This is all connected to sacral and solar plexus energy. Okay. Any last advice for group 1? We're going to read this one from the booklet. Any last advice for group 1? Ooh. What do we get? We have Touch the Sky. Ooh, baby, the sky's the limit. Also, before I read that, let me just say that this is pretty close to what I would do in a personal reading. I typically use this deck every time to close out my personal readings. We read from the booklet, and in general, all the cards that I've pulled, the way this has been set up is very close to my personal reading. So if you would like to book a personal reading, you can do that. Let me just interfere right quick for a second. I don't know why, but Spirit is pushing me to bring it up now. I just recently changed my pricing options on my website. So there are now two categories. You can pay a starting price or you can pay a supporter price. Because I'd recently increased my prices, and I felt like I was losing some people, and I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to leave anyone behind. So now you can choose what feels right, whatever is comfortable for you to pay. So just shouting that out right quick. So we have a number 32, which a 32 reduces down to a 5. It says, touch the sky. Lost in thought's isolation sanctuary, a young girl with long braids looks down to earth from up in the skies. The small bird on her shoulder keeps her company in her cloud sanctuary. She is holding one of her braids like a lifeline, as if she is expecting somebody to climb up to her. Sometimes we are so overwhelmed by our feelings and sensations, we escape into a condition of withdrawal and separation. It is hard for other people to follow us there unless we give them a sign that they are welcome. Okay, so first of all, we have rise up here, right? But I think this is very much giving me moving on up to the east side to a deluxe apartment in the sky, right? But then we have touch the sky, which is the sky's the limit. I'm thinking of Kanye West's song, Touch the Sky. But I think what this is focusing on here is that this is air energy. That's very much in thought. That's theory. You need to come back down to earth. While you are down on earth, you will be leveling up, but we are talking about the material realm. You have been, with the Judgment card and the Chariot card, you have been focusing a lot on your attitude, on your thoughts, reworking your thoughts, and then the next test is going to be, how do you apply those thoughts in the material world? And that is what's going to shift this experience for you. So that is beautiful energy. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for hanging out. I really hope that it resonates. Drop me a comment. Let me know how you feeling. What are you looking forward to? Because there's beautiful energy coming your way, but it's coming your way because you are coming its way. You're like meeting. There's an intersection, right? So don't sit around and wait for it. But if you would like to book a reading, you can only book on my website. The link is in the description below. Other than that, I do hope I get to read for you again sometime. Until then, take care. Hi, Group 2. This is your reading if you chose the Angel Aura Rose Quartz and the Babbling Brook. Let's see how babbling it is. We're going to set these down here so you know you're in the right place. And then we are going to jump right into your reading. We're going to do a general reading. What does Group 2 need to hear at this time? What do we need to bring to Group 2's awareness? What's going on? Let's get into it. What's happening? We have the Hermit. Very interesting. As I was shuffling right now, I could tell that my shoulders were kind of pulled up, and then I like released them and I like settled into my chest. And then I was sort of zoning out. I was quiet, right? I was zoning out to the sound of shuffling, and I thought in my mind, oh, it is a babbling brook. So that gave me like a intense, very quick moment of like relaxation. It was very interesting. Not surprising with this color, but and then the Hermit coming out first is very significant here. So you might be in a time period of deep contemplation, some isolation. But let's see what's going on. There's a deep focus on deep tissue. I'm getting like deep tissue massage, deep breaths. There's something about depth right now for you, but at the same time bringing awareness to movement, right as the Chariot card comes out, bringing awareness, like there's something, because I am thinking of like a babbling brook right now, right? So I'm thinking about the calm of the depth, but then hearing the little sounds of water splashing. And so there is movement in this deep contemplation, in this deep, there's a strong undercurrent here. Also very refreshing. I'm very much feeling this babbling brook. We have the Two of Cups. Okay, that was a bunch of cards that popped out, so we're gonna keep going. And the Fool. All right, I'm getting, and we have the Five of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. I'm getting that you have been baptized by something. And I think that's obviously just a very intense metaphor, but baptism somehow is coming through. You've been washed clean by something. And that happened through this time period of isolation and reflection and contemplation. And you are coming back up for air. You are about to re-emerge with this Fool card. That's you know, that's the cycle. Now we have the Five of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck, and this indicates to me that there might be some fears that you're facing because you can tell that you're getting the itch. You're getting the itch to connect with people. You're getting the itch to re-engage in certain things. You're coming back up for air. And as you are getting closer to the surface, you're getting a little bit nervous because it's kind of like, I don't know what, I've been in the depth so long, I don't know what has changed. I don't know what the weather is like on the surface. You're coming back up to the surface and you don't know what to expect, but also what's expecting you. Very interesting. I want to take a peek underneath this Five of Pentacles. The Four of Wands. Yeah, it's unfounded fears. I like that. It's unfounded fears. I could sense that, but still there was like a little shroud of doubt of like, oh, I don't know what I'm coming home to. So yeah, you might quite literally be coming home to something. You might be coming home to a person. Take it only if it resonates. You might be coming home to a friendship, a connection, a family member, where it's kind of like, you know, you've had to grow apart to come back together, and you're not sure how you're going to be received when you come back. But you're coming back lighter. You're coming back less burdened because you took this time to take care of yourself and to sit in this isolation. Tell me about the Hermit card. We have the Tower. Okay, so this may have been something where you were actually shunned, where you felt like you had no choice but to leave, but to isolate. So you may have experienced something very significant, some kind of traumatic event, something that really forced you into hermit mode, that forced you into a place of absolutely, by all means necessary, having to prioritize your own well-being because it was so severe. This could have been some kind of health issues. This could have been some kind of mental health issues. Something broke. It was like going back to the babbling brook, it was like a dam that broke. And you were like, I have no energies to give to anything else but fixing this dam. We have the Chariot coming out with the Justice card. I'm getting that, you know, maybe there's something. We have the Seven of Wands at the bottom of the deck right now. Okay, so for some of you, I am strongly getting that there was a relationship, a friendship, a family connection. There was something that was severed. There was something that was really inflamed, and it broke. It could not bend. It had to break. And it's almost like a bone that broke. And if you don't set it in place, it'll grow kind of wonky, right? And I see this having grown a little wonky, but I think it's good. Like, I think it's growing wonky in a way that it should. There's something where you are going to be, even if you're not coming back to the same person, I think you're coming back to a version of yourself or an expression of energy that reminds you of what you cherished in that person. So let's say if there were family issues and you're like, this is not reconcilable, I cannot meet you where you're at because it's would be asking too much of me. You break away from that family member, take your space, and then recognize in the moment everything is so intense, everything is so heated, right? And then over time, as you prioritize yourself and your healing and your self-care, you get to a point where it's like, you know what? I think I can face this again. Like, it was so intense at that point in time, I couldn't deal with it. I think I can face it again. And you might face it again and might be met with them not having changed. However, you have changed. You can meet them differently now. So that's not saying that they won't change, right? But there's a sense of righteousness that there's like a perspective that gives you a sense of righteousness that you have acquired, of like, you know what? Who am I to judge? And you're like, wait a minute, I'm exactly the person to judge who should and shouldn't be in my life. Let's see. Tell me about this Two of Cups. We have the Death card, yeah? I think there are going to be some connections that you return to, if only to completely put them to rest. There are going to be some connections. Some of you will return to a connection where it will be both of you show up completely differently, and you can therefore approach whatever the essence of the connection is differently, because both of you are different. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean reconciliation, but that does mean seeing one another for who you are. Tell me about this Fool card. We have the Four of Swords. Yeah, there's some kind of rest that is coming in to a situation that was very tense before. And then we have the Six of Pentacles. Okay, I like that. I'm going to take a peek underneath it. We have the Eight of Wands. One more. The Five of Swords. Okay, so there's going to be some situations where it's kind of like, okay, I have to cut my losses. Like, it might not be the thing, you know, when something comes back in, it might not be exactly the situation that you had hoped. Because there is something about vengeance in these earlier cards. There's like this feeling of, and I deserve this, and I deserve that, and they should do this and this and that. There's a lot of like vigor here, but it eases. There's some shift that takes place that moves towards, man, we're both just humans, and we're both just trying to figure it out, you know? And so there's some kind of acceptance with this Death card. There's an acceptance to certain things either not working out, and that's the thing, like, I'm getting some different storylines here, because some of you are going to return to a connection, an old friendship, an ex, a family member, and I mean return as in just connecting with them, not necessarily return to be there for your rest of your life, but I mean intersecting with one of those people. Some of you are going to intersect with those energies, and it will be the final nail in the coffin, and you can finally lay it to rest. Some of you are going to intersect with those energies, and you can meet each other in a way that is very accepting and gracious, but it still doesn't necessarily mean that you're then going to intertwine your lives again. I am looking at this in the background here, that medicine symbol. We're talking a lot about healing, but I don't think that we're necessarily we're not going backwards here. We are healing, but we're bringing healing into a situation from a new perspective. So essentially, I think something that's coming through as a metaphor is kind of like having an ailment, having something that really like is heavy on your physical form. This is a metaphor. And not understanding what it is. It's kind of like, you know, living with symptoms and not knowing what it is. And then someday you finally get a diagnosis. And that doesn't mean that the illness is curable. The ailment that you had might not be curable. It might just be like a hormonal imbalance, something like that, something that you just have to learn to live with. But your awareness around it then helps you manage the symptoms in a very different way. So for some of you, that will be enough awareness to manage a cordial relationship with this person. And I do think that it has to do either with one particular person or a group of people, like a family, or it could have to do with just your ability to connect with people in general. With the Six of Pentacles, the Eight of Wands, and the Five of Swords. The Five of Swords, to me, these are very positive energies. The Five of Swords is not negative, but it still shows me that there is going to be prickly situations. Like, it's not going to be, oh my God, I'm so sorry that I hurt you. Oh my God, that's okay, I forgive you. Now we're best friends for life, forever. No, it's not going to be that. You're going to take the knowledge of what has transpired with you, but you're also meeting this from a place of fairness. With the Justice card and the Six of Pentacles, you're meeting this situation from a place of fairness. All right, we have the second house. We have Aquarius energy, that is that fairness, and we have Neptune energy. Yeah, so the second house is the house of values. It is also the house of possessions and the things that are within our control. And maybe you're gaining some kind of awareness around, where you can't will people to change. With Neptune, there could have been some confusion around, why isn't this person willing to change for me? And it's like, that's because that's not how it works, Yeah, there are certain things that we can change about ourselves, but there are certain things that we can only change if we want to change them for ourselves, not in order to please another person. And so I'm seeing a lot of recognition here. You've gone through a process of recognizing what is your responsibility and what isn't, and what is a sign of acceptance and love and what isn't. For group 2, what is an energy that they're currently in? What is an energy that group 2 is currently in? We have Otter. I love that because I can totally see an otter, going around in a babbling brook, swimming around in a babbling brook. And they're so swift, right? And they can dive pretty deep. And there's natural curiosity there. Like, I see that. You are coming up for air and you're very curious, but you're also a little bit anxious. What is an energy that group 2 should lean into more? Can we get one at a time? They keep popping over multiples. What is an energy that group 2 should lean into more? Just one, please. All right, we'll take that one. We have Gazelle. It's interesting because the Gazelle is coming out right next to this Fool, and the Stingray kind of wanted to come out with it, and I'm thinking a lot about flexibility here. Flexibility and also treading lightly. So that is an energy that you're being advised to embrace more of moving forward. Flexibility, sensitivity, right? Look at those big ears, but also keeping your guard up, right? With those horns as well. We're talking about having the ability to defend yourself, but also being willing to listen, being flexible, being, I'm hearing nimble, but I'm thinking more so of being responsive, aware of your surroundings and being responsive. Okay. What is an energy for group 2 to release, to let go of? We have Gambler. That goes quite well with the Otter here. And then what is an energy for group 2 to embrace, to grow towards? And we have Prostitute. It's a jarring card. It's a jarring word, obviously, but there's no negative connotations to that aside from societal constructs, right? we are talking more so about the exchange of what am I receiving versus what am I giving. So let's start off with the Gambler card. The Gambler card as an energy to release, to let go of, I think is a lack of awareness of what am I putting in, right? When you gamble, you're literally like, okay, I'm putting $2 into this machine. I don't know what I'm getting out. Versus prostitute is very aware of, this is what I'm offering and this is what I'm charging. So I know what I'm going to get out of me giving something of myself. It says accentuates the challenge of surviving without negotiating the power of your spirit. Meaning, you know, like you can't break my soul. You may have pieces of me. You may have pieces of my past. You may have memories of me. You may be part of my memories, but you don't own me, right? You may have paid a certain price to be around me for a little while, but that doesn't mean you own my soul. So this is coming through very strongly as the you recognizing your personal power here and the ability to charge a certain fee, which I think has to do with this righteousness that we were talking about, right? Of like, okay, I can forgive you and I can be cordial with you, but that doesn't mean that you deserve access to me the way that you used to have access. Because here with the Gambler card, I think you were a little bit too, you were a little bit too giving in some shape or form. And then that led to some sort of massive breakdown in communication here. All right. Let's start with this one. Can we get some significant energies for this reading for group 2? We have nurture. And we have create. At the bottom of the deck, we have desire. Nurture and create. This is making me think of the way that nurturing is creation, right? Watering a garden is the act of creation. So if you have chosen, you want a certain relationship in your life, you want a certain person back in your life, then you have to nurture that in a giving way. However, you may have a past that was, I'm looking for a word. You may have a past that was informed by overgiving blindly. And so you have gone through a situation that is forcing you to be more aware of what it is that you're giving and what it is that you're receiving. Going back to the garden, it's kind of like you have strewn seeds and you don't know what they are. And if you don't know what they are, then you don't know how to nurture them correctly, because certain plants need a little bit more water, a little bit more heat, or there's also different timelines of when you should plant what. And so we're talking about bringing more awareness into what it is that you're planting. And so connecting back to this Gambler card, it's about bringing awareness to, these are my expectations in a friendship. These are my expectations in a family member. These are my expectations in a romantic situation. And the more informed you are on what your expectations actually are, the better you can communicate that and the better your needs can be met. And you therefore create and cultivate a space where your needs can be respected. Any blind spots that group number 2 needs to be aware of? Any blind spots? Yeah, exactly that. Connecting to what I just said, radical honesty. To believe in the facade is to suffocate in the armor of alienation, self-defeat, and self-denial. Now you may very well have told yourself, I'm never going to talk to that person again. You may have told yourself, I'm never going to fall in love again. I'm never going to connect with people again. I'm never going to have a best friend again. Something like that. And that was a lie. That was a lie that you had to tell yourself in order to protect yourself so that you could heal at the time. To believe in the facade, that was the facade, is to suffocate in the armor of alienation, right? If you don't come back up for air, you will suffocate, you will drown. Suffocate in the armor of alienation, self-defeat, and self-denial. You are allowed to have connections. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to reconnect with that person in particular or that group of people in particular, but it's about putting an end to what you've previously seen as enough. So this is a huge leveling up in your interpersonal connections. And it's going to require radical honesty on your end with yourself so that, like I said, you can be more informed on what am I willing to put up with and what is beyond what I see as right. I'm gonna get a moon card for group 2. We have darkness. And then look at, we have change. So that's changing. So it's always darkest before the dawn, right? It's cliche, but it is cliche for a reason because it's true. And so there is a change happening in your solitude. You're coming from a place of solitude, you're coming from a place of isolation, and you are going to move towards connection. You are going to move towards reintegrating. And again, if you don't want to reconnect with people from your actual past, that's totally fine. You don't have to. But you do have to reapproach those situations from a radically honest place so that you learn from those situations, so that they're not just pushed and suppressed off into the back corners of your mind, because then you will be tempted to re-engage with future connections that echo the situations that you have suppressed. Any last considerations or advice for group 2? We have the sun. Look at that. I love it. I love it. It's like, it's as if I'm psychic or something. We have the sun and learn, which is like, I'm telling you, you are moving away from this darkness, and we get the sun, which is light. And I'm telling you, you have to learn from this so that you don't repeat it and find yourself there again with other connections or the same connection. And then the next card out is learn. Beautiful. And one more. And then release, yeah. And then whether you reconnect with those same people, those same energies, or whether you connect with new energies, you have to release this. You have to, through bringing awareness to it, learn from it, and thereby release it. This is like a domino effect, right? Bringing awareness to it will help you learn from it, and then that will help you release it. And then look, we have cave, which is very much connecting to the Hermit card. You're coming out of your cave. Coming out of my cave, and I've been doing just fine. Gotta be down. Okay, we are going to get you one last oracle card. We are going to read that one from the booklet. And let me just tell you, if you've never had a personal reading from me before, we always use this deck to close out in personal readings. I don't always do it in pick-a-cards though. But in personal readings, I always use this deck because I think it's a lovely way to close out the reading. If you would like to book a reading with me, you can do so on my website. And I actually recently changed my prices and have made some adjustments. So I now offer 2 price tiers. So there is a starting price and there is a supporter price. So you get to choose what feels right for you. So go check that out if you are interested. Can we get one last card of advice for group 2? Liberty. Beautiful. All right, that is a number 2, which is all about 2 of Cups, connection, get it? See how it all comes back to the same themes. All right, this says, let's focus, there we go. Choices, confidence, letting go, self-determination. This card shows a woman standing in profile. A bird cage hangs from her hair and she is about to release her winged friend into the night. The stars and the moon are guiding the little bird's way. The woman has plucked a special star from the sky to help shepherd the bird's journey. This card stands for the freedom you have to choose your own way in life. Don't let others decide for you. You have the power to liberate yourself from both external and internal cages. Many of the obstacles we face are ones we create ourselves. Once we realize we've created them, we have the power to release them. And that is, again, connecting to the Radical Honesty card, the Learn card. This is about, especially if you are coming from an attitude where you feel like, I always attract the same kind of partners. I always attract the same kind of friends. Like, if you have some sort of patterns, you are breaking free. You have been breaking free. I would argue you're already free, but you're about to reconnect, and now comes the time to be like, okay, well, now moving forward, I've released that. So how do I make different choices moving forward when it comes to connection, whether it is one particular connection or any kind of future connections for you? How can I ensure that I am embodied a healed version of myself that is able to receive exactly what they know they are worth here? All right, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for hanging out. I really hope it resonates. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. Other than that, I do hope I get to read for you again sometime. If you'd like to book a personal reading, the link is in the description below. Until then, take care. Hi, Group 3. This is your reading if you chose this beautiful mystery stone with blaze. So let's blaze and set this down here so you know you're in the right reading, and then we're going to get right into your reading. So this is going to be a general reading. How many times can she say reading? Well, we'll see. This is going to be a general message. We are going to focus on just whatever you need to hear at this point in time, whatever we need to bring to your awareness. So, Spirit, for Group 3, what do we need to talk about? What's going on? What's happening, Group 3? You're chaotic, I can tell. Sorry. Don't mean to call you out, but I can tell. It's chaotic. Ooh, Strength card. Love that. Coming in full force. You know what? That's it. It's Mars. Mars just today moved into Leo. That's what this is. It's full force. And especially after this time period of Mars having been in Cancer, it's like, oof, get me out of here. So, okay, what's going on? We have the moon. We have the Nine of Wands. Feels like you're hungry. And we have the Devil. Yep. It feels like you're hungry. Okay. We have the Justice card. You have quite possibly been denying yourself something. And I am here to just give you a gentle reminder that absolute denial, absolute absence can lead to swinging back the other way, right? There is going to be some temptation that comes in with this Devil card at a point in time when you are going to feel very exhausted from upholding yourself, from you've been practicing some kind of moderation. I think you've been doing a good job, but you are maybe about to approach a time that's going to be emotionally frustrating. And when we are emotionally frustrated, we gravitate towards easy, instant gratification. We gravitate towards what makes me feel good right now because I don't like feeling this way. I think you've been doing a good job in the absence of stress, but I think you're about to approach a time period that's going to be a little bit stressful and therefore triggering. And it's kind of like, okay, now comes the time that we really show our strength. Now comes the time that you really show your determination here. Okay, with the Justice card, it's kind of, I'm getting that this reading is sort of like a tread carefully. What's going on with the Strength card? Tell me about the Strength card. We have, yes, absolutely. Both of these cards signify moderation. You have been really good at moderating something, at keeping something at an even flow, at an equilibrium. You've been not overdoing it, whether this is a vice that you believe you have, you've been not gravitating towards it, but it's also because things have been going maybe not completely easy, but things have been flowing in a way where you haven't had the need for it. Okay, we have the Two of Wands coming out with the Moon card. That is that hunger. Again, both of these cards are very like looking outward to, I'm seeking something, I'm seeking something. Perhaps this could even be boredom. This could be emotional boredom and kind of getting the itch to kind of self-sabotage maybe. Tell me about this Nine of Wands. If it is self-sabotage, it would be very, very subconscious. And it would be because you're in this place of everything's okay. Like things, life can still be exhausting, but it feels like mentally you are doing a good job in maintaining a certain levity, a certain sanity. But because of that, it's kind of like, all right, there's no highs, no lows. It's just everything is kind of like even. And that could have put you in a place of craving a little bit of excitement, whether it's one way or another. Tell me about this Nine of Wands. Also, looking at this Nine of Wands, and then seeing these wolves, I'm hearing the boy that cried wolf, which is this parable about, somebody being bored and causing drama for drama's sake. So just be aware of that. That, especially with the Blaze card, doesn't necessarily have to mean that you're the problem in any given situation, but I am seeing a little bit of boredom here, and that boredom can be dangerous. Okay, so with the Nine of Wands, we have the Star card. You may be getting bored of your healing journey. You might be getting, if you have been on a healing journey, it could be that at first it was out of a place of necessity, and then it grew into this feeling of empowerment and feeling really intrigued and interested in changing your perspective and taking care of yourself. And then now you may be hitting a plateau where you're kind of like, okay, and now what? And it just feels a little bit like, I think you're actually really close to closing out a cycle, a very significant cycle. And it's because you're so close to closing that out that you're kind of like, should I go back for one more ride on the merry-go-round? Yeah. Let's see. Tell me about the Devil card. Seven of Wands. Don't do it. Don't do it. We have the Two of Cups. You get what you give. The Two of Cups is shouting at me, you get what you give. Yeah, Seven of Pentacles. You've invested a lot of effort into getting where you're at right now. Don't give it up for a little bit of fun, for a little bit of excitement, because you get what you give here with this Two of Cups. Now, this could also have to do with relationships, right? So you may have been doing a really good job at prioritizing yourself, and maybe you're single and you've been like, I'm gonna just take care of me. I'm just gonna center my world around me, which is beautiful and puts you in a place of, your more feminine energy. And it could be that you're getting bored there. It could be that you're like, but I don't I'm not having any fun. Like, yeah, I'm feeling healed and I'm feeling secure, but I'm not feeling fun. And so, again, with this Two of Cups, we're being reminded that you get what you give. Now, I feel like you're a little bit exhausted, and I just don't want you to give up the ghost just so close to the finish line. I think you're really close to the finish line. And of course, there is no real finish line, but I think metaphorically, you are about to make a very significant choice when it comes to falling back or staying on course. Falling off the wagon or staying on course. And my advice to you is do whatever you can to stay on course, because this decision, and it's kind of like, especially when we are trying to grow away from an old attachment, every day is important. Every day is the most important day to not make that decision to fall back, right? But it feels like there's a decision ahead of you that is going to be especially significant. It's kind of like a save, you know, in video games, where it's kind of like, you know, there's going to be a moment where it's easy for your character to die, and the chances of you like accomplishing it first try aren't high. So what do? You save the game. This is what this feels like. This feels like a save option. There's a name for it. I don't know what it's called. But this feels like a save point. It's like a point of, okay, this is where my decision is going to create a cornerstone that I will return to the next time that I feel tempted. The next time I'll feel tempted, I will think back to this decision and be like, I didn't do it then, I don't have to do it now. Now, again, this kind of attachment can be many things. This can be an unhealthy attachment, as far as an addiction, a dependency that you have been growing away from. That can be a substance, that can be an energy, that can be a person, can be so many different things. That can also be a mindset, that can be thought patterns. But it is something that you have been investing a lot of time into outgrowing. And so you are reaching a point, it's kind of like you're reaching a point of no return. And it is going to be your choice. And also, I don't want you to feel pressured. So if you choose to fall back, that's okay. You'll get here eventually. You'll get to that choice no matter what. Whether you take another loop around the same merry-go-round or whether you get off now. You're gonna get to this point. And I need you to trust that you will get to this point. But when you get to this point, know that it won't be easy. Despite all of the strength that you have cultivated, it's still always going to feel like day one when you make that very significant choice to not fall back. It's still going to feel like it's taking all of your strength. And you may have this expectation of it should be easier. And if you integrate that, or if you kind of embody that expectation too much, then you will think it should be easier to say no by now. That means I must not be as far along as I thought I was, so I might as well just fall back. No, absolutely not. I'm not having that. It is your choice, and I'm not going to shame you for falling back, but don't give me no bullshit excuses, because you are very far along in your journey, one way or another. All right, we have the fourth house, we have Aquarius energy, and we have Neptune energy. That's so weird. We had Aquarius and Neptune energy in the last reading as well, but it was the second house. So here we are with the fourth house now. The fourth house, okay. You have learned so much about yourself, and especially when we're talking about unhealthy attachments and dependencies and perhaps even addiction, Neptune energy very much relates to that, because it's about the distortion of reality And that happens when we lean on substances, whether those are physical substances, but also we can distort our reality with our patterns, with the people that we attach to. Okay. But there is something where you are bringing clarity to the influences that distortion has had on you. So whether that is dealing with people that have manipulated you, dealing with family issues, because the fourth house is the house of home and family and ancestry. It is also the house of it is one of the cornerstones of your personality, who you are in private. And so it is the anchor of your energy. And so we are talking about the influences that you have experienced from a young age, and how those have clouded your judgment, clouded your reality. And so you are working through bringing clarity to that so that you can feel empowered in the decisions that you make and not a slave to the conditioning that you've experienced. And there is a desire to distort. There is a desire to engage in distorting energies because it takes some of the pressure off. But you have been putting so much effort into cleaning house, into cleaning up your foundation, that one little drop of distortion is not going to undo all of the work that you have done. Because that's the thing, when we're talking about Aquarius energy, we're talking about Aquarius is the water bearer. So it's about holding space for emotions and not distorting them. Being able to look at them without having to soak in them. That is what's going to help you to free yourself of this urge to distort instead of, drowning in it. Very intense. All right. Spirit, can we get some oracle cards for group 3? What is an energy that they are currently embodying? We have the whale. Interesting that it came out in reverse. I'm not really taking reversals, but I am paying attention. I'm not really taking reversals with my oracle cards, but I do pay attention to how the cards come out, meaning it informs the energy, but I'm not reading it as only reversed. But so the energy that you are currently embodying most, being the whale, has something to do with I just talked about this in a different reading today that I posted on TikTok and Instagram. The whale is about having the power to take a breath of air and hold it and have it sustain you for a very long time. And I think you're getting to the point where you have to come back up for air, but I also think you're getting to the point where you're running out of oxygen, and so you have to take a fresh breath. And that is that point. And that is just to say that you have been on this journey for a long time, and you have made a lot of progress, so don't dismiss that. And you've been going to the depths to free yourself of this, whatever this is. What is an energy that group 3 should embody more of, lean into more? We have earthworm, which is interesting because here we're talking about water energy versus earth energy, and in a quite literal sense. And so you've been doing a lot of emotional upheaval and working through who am I? Why do I do these things? And again, you're at because whales are so deep down there, and it's so quiet except for their own song, right? It's so quiet down there. I say that as if I know. But I assume it's very quiet down there. There's not much going on, right? And so that could, again, connect to that boredom, right? Like the orca whales that are tipping over all those boats, all of those yachts, because they're bored. They're just messing with humans because they're let's start some shit. So going back to that, and then with earthworm, we're talking about grounding, we're talking about understanding. Also, look at all these colors here. We're talking about understanding what you have built, what you have created for yourself. What is an energy that group 3 should release, let go of? We have storyteller. And then what is an energy that group 3 should embrace, grow towards? That was 2 cards, I know. All right, we're taking this one because look at how she got bent. Poor girl, poor goddess. Storyteller and goddess. Now some of the other cards, because again, I pay attention to them, some of the other cards that were poking out was Gambler and what was the other one? I just had it. Beggar. Gambler and Beggar. Which again, those are both cards that came out in the other readings. That's interesting. I shuffled them. Okay, energy to release, to let go of. We have storyteller, which is very much about perpetuating narratives. You are not the person that you were at the beginning of this journey. Okay, so don't make yourself believe you are. That's coming through so strong in this reading. And then with goddess, it says the feminine expressed through wisdom, nature, life force, and sensuality. Your body is a temple. That's coming through here. Your mind is a temple. Your soul is a temple. Treat it accordingly. And I don't necessarily, again, this is not a character flaw. I'm not trying to criticize you, but I do feel strongly that Spirit is trying to remind you. It's just trying to remind you so that you can make your choices from a place of awareness. But there is very much something, especially with earthworm and goddess. I'm getting earth angel, earth goddess, the sacred divinity of nature. I'm getting the necessity to ground whenever you are too in your emotions or too in your boredom, to go out in nature and connect with nature, to ground in nature. What are some significant energies in this reading? We have play. Yeah, you are craving that. It's just a matter of finding a different outlet because you are experiencing some boredom in your healing journey. And so it's all about you finding a different outlet to excitement so that you don't fall into this desire for the things that used to excite you, used to distort. And then we have wish. You need to recognize that you already are the person that you wish to be. Wow, that came through so effortlessly. You already are the person that you wish to be. That's incredible. That is beautiful. That coming out over the goddess card, you already are the person that you wish to be. And you think you're so far away, and it's like, no, she's here. It's just distorted. It's that distortion. The distortion keeps you from being the person that you want to be. And it isn't true because this is who she is, but she's looking at her reflection and the reflection is distorted. So you're distorting your own vision of who you are. Okay. Can we get a blind spot for group 3? What is a blind spot for group 3? Okay, we got 2. We have home. May your home be where a harmonious balance of love, strength, light, and pleasure lives. And you're like, ugh, I'm so bored of that. But that's what it's all about with the 4th house here as well. We have metamorphosis. Power and strength lie within our surrender to change. And then repair. Making amends rather than fun times reveals a relationship's true constitution. Now that is a relationship between you and yourself or you and others. Metamorphosis and repair. Those are very significant cards coming out here. So yeah, you are in this process of changing into, again, recognizing you are changing into a person that is capable of recognizing their true self, who doesn't need that distortion. And in repair, making amends rather than fun times, which is the distortion that you're seeking, reveals a relationship's true constitution. Maybe there are certain relationships that you feel like you can only face them if you are distorted, if your vision is distorted. And if that's the case, then those are not healthy relationships and they should not be in your life. Can we get a moon card for group 3? Discernment, yeah, absolutely. This is all about bringing awareness to your choices. And look at peace. And your peace is a good thing. You need to definitely rewire your brain to recognizing that peace is a good thing. And it is about balance, your foundation, and longevity. You are feeling tempted to kind of start something because you are underwhelmed or overwhelmed with the noiselessness of this equilibrium. And so with discernment, you're being asked to recognize why and when you are being tempted back into distorting your vision. For some reason, this just came through. This could also have to do with social media. You might be using social media to distort something about yourself. Any last considerations or advice for group 3? It's about showing up more authentically, and the more authentically you show up within yourself, the more authentically you can show up to meet others that then also don't need you to distort yourself, because they will connect with who you authentically are. All right, so we have the Sun, we have Tower, and Adorn. You are approaching a moment of reckoning is coming through, but you are approaching a moment of really being able to give yourself the flowers that you deserve. And that is that significant choice that I was talking about. There's going to be a moment where the spotlight is on you. You're going to feel the pressure. Look at the 6655. You're going to feel pressure and you're going to want to buckle under that pressure, because you're going to have this distorted image of yourself of what? No, I'm not good enough. What? No, I haven't grown that much. No, I'm not able to say no to this. And really what you need to do is honor yourself, honor your temple, the temple of your soul, the temple of your body, the temple of your mind, and recognize that you are the person that you wish to be. Okay? Beautiful message. Intense. Beautiful. All right, we're going to pull one last oracle card. This one we're going to read from the booklet. If you've never gotten a personal reading from me before, I do this to close out all of my personal readings. We always use this one and read from the booklet to kind of get some last perspectives. And I say that just because the way that I've structured the reading today is very much what you can expect in a personal reading. So I also just wanted to share that I recently updated my pricing, and I now have 2 categories. You can pay a starting price, you can pay a supporter price, which is a great way for you to choose what you're comfortable with. And it's a great way for us to connect on a basis that, honors where you are able to be met. So if you are interested in booking a personal reading, you can do that on my website only. I will never DM you to sell you a reading. And that is linked in the description below. So, Spirit, any last advice for group 3? That was 2 cards that turned over. It was White Rose of Hope that was kind of looking at me. So she's at the bottom of the deck, which is beautiful because it is just about, you know, coming from a place of darkness and remaining hopeful. But we're going to read the perfect key for you, which is number 29. It says happiness, encouragement, unlock feelings. See, I'm telling you, you're so much further along than you think you are. This card shows a woman holding a key in one hand and a cage with a heart in the other. There is a bird sitting on the woman's shoulder, encouraging her to try different keys with his mouth. Yet, the woman has already found the perfect fitting key. She can open the cage, meaning you're already the kind of person that you're trying to be. She can open the cage and open her heart. Sometimes life is only a search for the right key. There are so many things that are hard for us to approach. We can have trouble accessing our own feelings. Thanks to friends and family, there are people who can help us find the lost keys to our personal happiness. And that's what I was saying, right? Connection is going to be significant moving forward with this Two of Cups. Let's take a peek underneath that. That was the Seven of Pentacles, right? And then we have the Two of Pentacles. Yeah, it's about choosing, like, who do you want on your team? Who do you want to give your energy to? Who are you engaging with? So if there have been manipulative people in your past, don't expect them to change just because you've been working on yourself. Be discerning about who and what you let into your life, into your temple, okay? All right, you've got this. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for hanging out, and I hope it resonates. Leave me a comment. Let me know how this made you feel. Other than that, I do hope I get to read for you again sometime. Until then, take care.